Good morning, Liberty North AP Psych. It is Tuesday, May 5th, and today's live stream, we will finally finish our psych disorder chart. So, exciting day. Not near as exciting as yesterday, which was May the 4th, but exciting nonetheless. So, just reminders, make sure that you get your AP notebook to me in some fashion or form. Make sure you check out Canvas to the required chapters that you need to send in, required areas that you need to send as we kind of work through this digital submission. And then also remember to check Canvas for all your assignments, your final assignments over chapter 16 and 17, of which the disorder chart is one. And then make sure you follow directions on the final, okay, which is just the quiz over the last 4 chapters. And again, if you completed the scavenger hunt successfully, which would be, then your AP notebook is done. You do not need to submit. And then your respective classes can turn in one document for everybody. So now I've already had some questions on that yesterday, which were really good. So first hour and 6th hour because of the scavenger hunt, and 2nd hour because they won the token economy contest between all periods. Somebody start the doc and just share it, and then just everybody add a piece to it and put your name on it. Okay. So if one person answers the questions, then just add something to the doc. Just add a vocab term or, a sentence or whatever, and then put your name by that, and then make sure that gets shared with me. That way everybody can participate in the doc, put your name on the doc. So just make an addition to the doc. Okay. And then just somebody make sure you submit that to me by May 12th. Okay, so everything is due May 12th, which will be seniors' last day. And then juniors, we will have one final assignment. It's kind of more, you get to choose. Fun, interesting topic, okay? All right, so get out your psych disorder chart. And we're gonna do 16 and 17, okay? All right, and they are both AP learning targets number 6, okay? Right? So the first one, 16, 17 there. The first one, which is a big for you AP test takers normally, but it's not going to be on the AP test this year because they're not doing this unit, but it's ADHD, okay? Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, okay? And it is what is now called in the DSM-5 Development Disorder, NDD, and AP learning target number 6, okay? And then the 3 main symptoms are inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity, okay? Impulsive type behavior. Mainly, if you're gonna see it with classmates, it's gonna be impulsiveness in their questioning, their talking, that type of thing. Not being able to kind of rein in the thoughts in their head, they just kind of come out. And then this is biological. Okay. All right. So I'll just go down each one of these again. So ADHD, which is on page 641 in your book. They have just like a little page on it. So it's not really included like the other ones, but it's kind of a good example here because it's important to remember that the DSM-5 has neurological disorders in it. So again, we are only covering just a few categories and a few types of the disorders. There are sexual disorders, sleep disorders. There's just communication disorder. There are tons more categories and disorders in the DSM-5. So we're just kind of hitting the highlights that are mostly hit by our college curriculum from Rockhurst and from the AP curriculum, okay? So neurodevelopmental disorder, NDD, okay? And so then you have inattention, so their ability to stay focused, right? To stay on task, to stay sequential, to lock in their mind on something. Hyperactivity, okay? So again, if you remember the fidget spinners, generally they need to have something moving, some body part or something moving. And actually that kind of helps kind of slow down the mind as well. So the hyperactivity actually helps with this a little bit. And then you have impulsivity, okay? And that's kind of the big defining factor in ADHD. Okay, so they have impulsive type behaviors. Now, they're more of impulsive speech, talking, actions, that type of thing. But most of the time in high school, by the time it's high school, it's speech. They have impulsive talking. They can't stop talking, voicing the thoughts that are in their head, ideas, questions. They'll talk over people. They'll dominate conversations, that type of thing. Okay. Obviously, this is biological grounds here. Okay. And then we're not going to put a psychotic or neurotic because this is a neurological disorder. So most neurological disorders, until we get down to neurocognitive, are really not based on neurosis or psychosis. Okay. Now, I will tell you, I'll put neurotic in here. Also in this group of neurodevelopment disorders is autism. What is now called autism spectrum disorder, ASD. And with autism, you can have anxiety and depression. It's actually I won't say it's very common, but it is common to find that if somebody is being treated for autism, they can also be treated for anxiety. Actually, I know two, a family member and friends that have children that are they're diagnosed ASD, autism spectrum disorder, and they both are being treated for anxiety. So we'll add that in there as kind of like something that goes along with it. And generally the neurosis is in social context, social functioning, because that's where in autism or in most of these disorders, they struggle to connect socially with others because of the disorder that they have. Okay. And then that creates anxiety over social situations, relationships, and so on and so forth. Okay. Which is what both cases that I'm thinking of right now, you see it in. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So then the very last one, number 17. And again, if you're missing any of these, make sure you go back and look at the live streams. Or you go back and also look at Twitter for the charts. All right. But this is basically they've changed all of the kind of neurological disorders. And what they've done is they've grouped them into mild or major and mild neurocognitive disorder. Okay. And these are called neurocognitive disorders or NCDs. So you have neurodevelopment and cognitive. And this is AP learning target number 6. Okay. And then what I put in there is the kind of the main types of neurocognitive disorders that we see. So we see delirium, which I'll go over, dementia, and amnesthetic. Sorry, it's amnesia. It's hard for me not to say amnesia. Okay, all right, but it's because of the deterioration of the brain that creates the amnesia. Okay, we have biological, and then again, just know that because it's a neurological disorder, it's different. But this is where we have psychosis. Also, Parkinson's would be in this category of neurocognitive disorders. Some of you are familiar with that, and we watched Awakenings with Robin Williams, so that would be there. And then the reason why you have psychosis there would be a perfect example would be from Awakenings, okay? Due to the treatment or due to just the degeneration cognitively, I can go into psychosis. If you pay attention to commercials for medication, you know that there actually is a specific antipsychotic for Parkinson's patients. So it is prescribed once the neurocognitive disorder and dementia patients, when they progress and they deteriorate, it's a progressive illness. We can't stop it. We can just slow it down. But at the later stages, they can develop psychosis. They can break from reality. They can become delusional. They can even have auditory hallucinations, which I think are the main ones for Parkinson's. Okay. So this is because of the deterioration over time of the mind. In later stages, they can break from reality. Okay. All right. So, so delirium. Delirium is when you lose touch with orientation. So you have confused thinking, but mainly it surrounds time, place. So they lose track of what day it is, or they don't know, or they're confused about the day, about their location. sometimes about who they are, who other people are, that type of thing. So delirium is confused thinking based on orientation, time and place. Dementia, again, is just, which most of you know, is just your cognitive ability, your ability to think, to process, to solve problems, to basically perform those higher level thinking processes that you need. Okay, so if those are impacted, then we have dementia. And then amnesia, I can't even say that. Amnesthetic, there we go, is basically, again, when you have problems with your memory. Okay, so this would be, definitely this is a part of dementia because it is a cognitive process, but this is when it specifically is memory involved. So again, if you look at Alzheimer's, so obviously at the beginning stages, it's memory. Actually, memory is the core of that neurocognitive disorder from the onset on. So it mainly focuses on a memory, but then it will go into dementia, okay? And then it can have all three of these, okay? So generally, same thing in the later stages. You can have all three of these. So most neurocognitive disorders have these three elements in there, which is kind of why I chose those. Now, these are three general symptoms, but they kind of can be found in any neurocognitive disorder at some level generally. And depending on, most of these disorders, again, are progressive, meaning we don't have a cure for them. We just, through medication, we can slow it down, but it will always be progressing, okay? Obviously, this is biological. And then you can have psychosis as the brain deteriorates. Again, when we look at, if you remember the biological causes for psychosis, schizophrenia, it's the deterioration of the brain mass. So you have more fluid-filled ventricles in your brain. Those get larger and your brain mass shrinks. So we definitely have that here as brain areas are dying and they're deteriorating. The brain mass itself shrinks, which can lead to psychosis, okay? Definitely delusions. And then hallucinations, I think, are pretty auditory based. As in psychosis, again, 60% are auditory, 40% are visual. But in neurocognitive disorders, I believe that they're mostly auditory. At least I know that's what the antipsychotic for Parkinson's does, is it treats auditory hallucinations, okay? All right, okay, so there are your two for today. Okay, so you got neurodevelopmental disorders and neurocognitive disorders. All right, and these kind of show again that the DSM-5 does go into the neurological areas as well. Okay. All right, so we are done. So again, when you submit your psych disorder chart, just make sure it goes to the number 17. All right, make sure you have all of these filled. Leave the treatment side empty. If we have time, we'll go back and fill those in. If we don't, it's fine just being empty. Although some of you, because we'll do our treatment chart starting tomorrow. And then the goal is to have time to move the treatments over to each of the 17 disorders. But I think some of you, as we talk through, I think you can go by and you can probably put that in there as well. Anywhere that's environmental is probably mainly going to be therapy. But a specific therapy technique that is prescribed, which we'll talk about. And then biological, obviously, you can use your medication, first of all, stimulation, which we'll talk about of the brain. And then in worst case scenarios, you can use surgery, okay, which actually is used for Parkinson's. We do probe down here, okay? All right, so any questions on anything? Oh. Disorders, chart, assignments, are we good? Make sure I have, yeah, I got it on 2-page. We're good? All right. Okay, happy Tuesday. Enjoy the sun, much better than yesterday. And again, if you have any questions, email me, chat me, contact me. Also, if there's anything about logistic questions that you have, please send that to me, because most of the time you are correct and that I haven't covered that, or something is confusing in the assignments. So thank you for students who are doing that and keeping me on track. I definitely appreciate it. Okay. All right. Have a good day.